It's round, it's greasy, it's cheesy, and it's damn tasty. The New York pizza. You see, the base has golden brown dots. It's thin and deliciously crisp. Want to know more about the history of the New York pizza? Then check out this video. Want to know how to make it? Well, then stick around. The tools we need: mixing bowl, scale, airtight container, and one of these. So you and I can do this together. Oh yes, and then there's one of these flexible things. If you don't have this, then use this, a spoon. If you don't have a spoon, your hand, but only use one. I don't want you to get dough all over that pretty little... Okay, let's get this over with. The dough recipe. I can give you a standard recipe for 3 or 4 pizzas. But what if you give a party for 5, 7, or maybe even 20 people? Well, then you're gonna have to do a whole lot of calculating. Shh, forget it, man. Whoa. Easy. I'm gonna help you out. Go to pizzacalculator.com or scan the QR code. Select New York style, enter the amount of pizzas, the size of the pizza, press enter, and boom, baby. Your own custom recipe. Mixing the ingredients, 2 minutes. Start by putting your cold water in a bowl. Then add the sugar, salt, and the yeast. Stir it for about 30 seconds so they start to dissolve. Now add your flour and mix it for 1.5 minutes. When done, the flour is still slowly soaking up the water. That's why it still looks like a dry, shaggy mess. Perfect. Now comes the first kneading. 2 minutes. Go to the tap, rinse one hand, making it non-stickish, and start kneading with your wet hand. All the loose, dry parts will start to come together and form one ball of dough. Continue kneading and the dough will start to feel wet and sticky. That's a sign that the dough is starting to get fully hydrated. So don't panic, you're doing great. Wash your hand and chill for a minute, as I explain why we still didn't add the oil. As soon as the flour has hydrated itself with water, the proteins gliadin and glutenin are activated and will slowly move towards each other, becoming one, forming gluten. Much like chewing gum, gluten are elastic and stretchy. This is great because they can hold gases produced by the yeast, causing the dough to rise and to have a beautiful airy crust. The reason I'm telling this is because there's one ingredient left. If you would add the oil before the water, the flour would hydrate itself with oil, coating the proteins and preventing proper gluten formation from happening. So for the best result, always add your oils and fats last. The second kneading, 2 minutes. Add the oil and now knead it in. Get the airtight container, but make sure it's big enough so the dough can double in size. Lightly oil it and throw in the dough. The dough should now look a bit rough. Don't worry, that's normal. Cover the dough and let it rest for 1 hour at room temperature. In this hour, the last bit of hydration will happen, the yeast will become active and the gluten will continue to develop, strengthening the gluten. We already have the gluten inside the dough, but to make them stronger, we need to stretch them. Layer them together and repeat the process. After about 5 or 6 times, you will feel it's getting harder to stretch. Great job! You're strengthening the gluten. Close the seam and place the dough seam side down in the container. Add a little bit of oil to prevent the dough from drying. Close the lid and here comes the secret ingredient. Time. And if you possess this secret ingredient, you're on the path to absolute pizza greatness. A long and cold fermentation will truly transform your pizza from the ordinary to the extraordinary. If you'd like to know more about the science behind this technique, then check out my video. And if you just want to know how to do it, then this is your lucky day. How to cold ferment. After 1 hour of room temperature, Simply place the container into the fridge between 4 and 7 degrees Celsius. Take it out after 1, 2 or even 3 days. The longer it's in, more fermentation will take place, the easier the pizza is to digest and the more depth of flavor you will create. Make individual dough balls. With a similar technique as before, stretch, fold, stretch, fold. When you feel the tension of the gluten, close the seam and place them seam side down on a lightly floured or oiled surface. Then oil the dough, cover them and let them rest one last time. I know you're hungry and I know you want to start baking, but you have to understand that making pizza with a cold dough will not only be hard due to the dense gluten, also the taste and structure will be half as good as when you use a warmer dough. So wait until the dough is about 20 degrees Celsius. This will take between 2 and 4 hours depending on your room temperature. In this time, the yeast warms up, producing gases and tasty aromas that will expand. At the same time, the gluten will relax, making the dough supple and soft. So when you bake your pizza, the gases can gently move the crust up all the way to pizza heaven. Your oven. Every oven is a bit different, so let's have a look. In an ideal situation, you want 3 types of heat. Radiation, that will come from the broiler in the top of your oven. Convection, from the fan circulating hot air through the oven. So if you have one, turn it on. Third, you will need an oven floor that will store and conduct heat. Wood-fired ovens in general have stone floors. And those are great, but for inside a home oven that doesn't get as hot, a steel floor will be more suited, since steel conducts heat fast. So even with a lower temperature oven, the steel will conduct heat right into the pizza, ensuring a beautiful, brown, crunchy pizza base. Place the pizza steel 2/3 up in the oven where you will find most heat. Turn the oven on and let it preheat for 45 minutes, max temperature. In my case, that's 175 degrees Celsius. Want to order yourself a pizza steel? Go to stettlermade.com. Fill in the discount code KEEPITSTEEL to get yourself the discount deal. Oh yes! If you already have a pizza stone at home and you're happy with it, then use that one. The New York pizza. Give your working bench a light dusting. Stretch your dough, sauce it. Now a New York pizza is baked for a relatively long time, between 8 and 12 minutes. Meaning the moisture in the sauce will evaporate, and if you would use a high moisture mozzarella, it would start sweating. So to prevent all this pizza drama, get yourself a low moisture mozzarella or any other low moisture, not too salty cheese. Grate it or cut it into small pieces, cover the whole pizza with it to form an insulating layer for the sauce, preventing it from drying during the long bake, keeping everything nice and juicy, while the base stays dry and crunchy. Slide the dough onto your peel. Do the wiggle test to see if the pizza will come loose. Launch the pizza onto your hot pizza steel and bake it between 8 and 12 minutes, depending on your oven. Take out when the cheese starts to bubble and the crust is getting color. Look at that! A beautiful, greasy, cheesy New York pizza. Yes, baby. Look at that beautiful brown base, the golden brown cheese bubbles, the flexible but still crunchy crust. It's amazing. Definitely try this one, but do know you can make many different variations on this pizza. Just be careful with the high moisture ingredients. If you like to make a Neapolitan style pizza at home, and check out my tutorial. That's all, folks. Peace out.